Welcome to the show. My name is Charlton with Big C. This is Charlton and Big C Sports coming to you worldwide on the iHeartRadio network, the number one network in the United States of America. And Big C Sports has been voted the number one sports show in the universe, according to Big C in them good old boys down south. I want to say bienvenidos to all of our listeners in Latin America, also across the pond in London, England, as well as Paris, France, and of course a lot of you good old boys up in the United States of America. It's called north of the United States. It's called Canada. We love you, Canada, so much. CFL starting up there. But Big C, there's no one I love more than you good old boys down south in the land of the free and the home of the brave. Big C, how's it going for you, all you good old boys? Yeah. Oh, yeah, I understand. That's funny. Well, it's been hot as heck here in California, and some people say hot as hell, but I'm telling you, it's about 110. I haven't seen 110 since I was riding around with you in that Escalade, but it's 110 in the heat, Big C. Trying to stay hydrated here in California. Maybe you can send out some cool moonshine later in the day, Big C. Coming from San Francisco, California, it's a little cooler in San Francisco than it is up in the Central Valley. And just being over here at a sports bar, a lot of people getting ready for the NBA draft. And we know we have a lot of talk about who's going to go where and who's excited to see who and who's going to make the biggest impact. But before we get into that, Big C, I want to just mention a little bit of sad news. He had a good life, but former football coach Frank Kush, he was actually a head coach at Arizona State University back in the day when they had a dominant team. I think they were competing for a national championship. And also he coached in the NFL for the Colts. He passed away at 88. And just a lot of thoughts about the players that played for him and how much of a great man. He was considered a tough coach, but a great man. And our thoughts go out to his family, Big C. Your thoughts on the late Coach Frank Kush?
Well, Frank Kush was known as probably the hardest coach that had all of college football. People think about, the legendary Woody Hayes and how, iconic he was.
Yeah.
With his players. But Frank Kush, through the college, legend, no one was tougher than Kush. But Kush turned out so many great players over the years, Charlton, and NFL Hall of Famers also.
Yeah.
When you think about some of the players, that played underneath him, I think of Charlie Taylor, who was a tremendous wide receiver with the Washington Redskins, who was the running back for Frank Kush. At Arizona State, Danny White, who succeeded, Roger Staubach at quarterback.
Yeah.
With Dallas Cowboys, and the list goes on and on, Charlton, with the number one draft.
I tell you, Big.
You think about back in those days, Charlton, Arizona State played in a conference called the WAC.
Yeah.
It's now one of the lesser conferences in college football. It's not one of the majors.
Yeah.
But when he led out of that conference, Charlton, he had 7 WAC championships when he was the head coach there, and over 200 players that he sent into the NFL.
Wow.
When you think about what he meant for opportunities for young men who came down to learn under his students down in the desert, in Tempe, Charlton, and he was just a great individual. All his players spoke harshly of him,
Yeah.
but they loved it because of what he taught them. He taught them endurance and how to persevere as men, that you didn't get anything easy in life. And, so often, the coaches that mean so much to players really don't get the resume, in life that, you get some of these young big money guys nowadays, that talk about like saints. But when Frank Kush was in Arizona State, Charlton, nobody did it better at the NCAA level.
And that's amazing. You mentioned over 200 players that he helped get drafted. That means he helped over 200 players earn a paycheck playing professional football. Big C, I wanted to say, again, our thoughts go out to his family and for all the great players that play for him. I'm sure he was tough on them, but he made sure that they understood what it took to succeed in life. So congratulations to his career, and I'm sure he's going to be missed by a lot of people, Big C. I do want to say that today's segment is sponsored by your Northern California Cadillac dealers, home of the all-new Cadillac Escalade, the standard of the world. And when you go by and test drive yours, tell them that Charlton and Big C sent you. Today is a beautiful June the 22nd, 2017, and here in downtown San Francisco, at a sports bar, people getting ready for the NBA draft. Obviously, a lot of excitement in the world of basketball. I don't remember it being this exciting in a long time, and I think a lot of it has to do with just the fact that Golden State has taken the NBA to a higher level, Big C, over the last 3 years, Big C, even 4 if you go back to when Jackson was coaching. And you know what? You know, the great LeBron James has meant to the NBA. Is this one of the better, most exciting feelings you've seen, Big C, over the last 40 years for the draft? Your thoughts? Yeah.
You know, you're looking at a lot of underclasses and a lot of 19-year-old players. And the thing that I'm troubled with the draft, Justin, even though all this excitement and hype is going along,
yeah,
is how do you get a young boy to lead grown men?
Yeah.
You know, that's what they lack. You know, they lack college ingenuity. They lack maturity. They lack mentorship, Charles. So you're asking these 19-year-olds to come in and be the face of your franchise.
Yeah.
Not only that, to get guys that are 8 to 10 years older than them to follow them, to listen.
Yeah.
These guys, a lot of great veterans, Charlton, and all of a sudden you bring this guy in and you're making the marquee of the franchise, and you're telling these guys now all of a sudden you all have to be subordinates to him.
Yeah.
And yet you don't know if he can play at that competitive level, Charlton, for 82 games.
Yeah, that's a very good point that you bring up. And you know, I was surprised, and I'm not surprised that you knew it, but I'm surprised that just going back to Frank Kush, that he helped over 200 men earn a paycheck in the NFL. And I contrast that to what you're saying right now, Big C, that you've been so adamant about. In the world of college basketball, and even the commissioner, they're trying to say it's okay for players to go right out of high school and into the pro level. And as you know, Big C, a lot of people aren't going to make it. And for someone in Kush, I doubt if he had many players that had 1 year and done at Arizona State for all the success that he had when he was coaching back in the day. Can you draw the contrast and how many people he helped get paying jobs, Big C, after being under his tutelage, compared to what's happening with universities across the country now, Big C? Your thoughts?
Ironically, Kush had one of the first players. There was an early entry into the NFL draft. So his name was Woody Green. He was a running back. He was a first-round draft pick of the Kansas City Chiefs. They had a thing called a hardship draft.
Yeah.
Back in those days, where after his sophomore year, Charlie, he was able to leave Arizona State and enter the NFL draft. Now they call it the supplemental draft.
Yeah.
But back then it was called the hardship draft because the NFL had 17 rounds in the draft back in those days.
Yeah.
So Woody Green was one of the first players in college football history to leave early and enter into the NFL under that draft rule, Charlton, because of financial hardship.
Yeah.
But, you know, he learned at Arizona State under Frank Kush, who had just a great program, Charlton, and he was prepped. You know, he would remind a lot of people in more recent years of a Marcus Dupree.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
He played in Oklahoma. He was that style of back. Big back was number 22 also. But, you know, Frank Kush, for all his antics and, you know, his workout regimen during the offseason was historic, you know, amongst his former players and even in the college annals, how people talked about it.
Yeah.
But to go out, Charlton, and provide that many opportunities for young men to have gainful employment, and we talk about this on the football side with Charlton, you have to think about how many players
Yeah.
for graduating his players in Fresno State, in Arizona State.
Yeah.
He had a thing about going to class. He didn't tolerate that. He was, when you talk about old school, he was old school. But you were there to get an education and play football for him.
Yeah.
He wasn't there you would play football and figure out what you were going to do after that. He was adamant about the kids going to class, and I praise him for that more than anything else, Charlton. I mean, he was a great winner. You know, he actually played Nebraska, I believe it was in 71-72 in the Fiesta Bowl.
Yeah.
Nebraska was the number one team in the country. They beat Nebraska. And Arizona State still didn't become the number one team in the country. I think they left them at number 2 in the coaches' poll.
Yeah, I think they were behind.
Number one team in the country and couldn't become number one.
Yeah, I think they gave that to Florida State, I believe, back in the day. They were right about the same type of that time. But you're right, to beat the number one team and you still don't get the number one seed. You know, and one thing about the Pac-12 right now, people have to understand what Arizona State did with the Kush, that had to do with the expansion that we see today. As you just mentioned, they knocked off the number one team coming out of the WAC conference, Big C. They were not in the Pac-10 at that time, or even the Pac-8, as it was known before they joined the Pac-12 with Arizona. They joined it together. But what he did also, he took his own success from the college level into the world of the NFL, Big C. Talk about a little bit what he did when he was up in the NFL with the Colts, Big C. Your thoughts? Yeah.
a little more resistant from time to time. You know, he didn't have the success with the Colts that he had with the Sun Devils at Arizona State, but also to be able to make that transition, to move back and forth.
Yeah.
He didn't go back into college coaching after he left the NFL. He decided at that time it passed him by. But, you know, to be able to contribute on both levels,
Yeah.
to have the mindset, mentality, to be able to work with kids as well as adults, Charles, that's a great thing to have in today's society. And Frank Fish did it well at both levels, and he did it even better as a person.
Well, Big C, that's a very good point you bring up. And again, you know, going back to Adam Silver with the NBA, obviously we're doing our show a little bit earlier today here in San Francisco, and we got the draft up, and obviously he's at the podium right now, and he's going to run down who is going to be considered, you know, the number one player. Just because you may be drafted number one, it doesn't mean you're the best player. All it means is that you met the need of whether it's going to be one of the top teams that pick. And I think we're looking at 76ers and the Lakers, Big C. Your thoughts on if they go, I mean, it doesn't matter who, but who do you think has the best chance to build their franchise based on where they stand in the draft, whether it's going to be the 76ers or the Lakers, Big C? Your thoughts? Forever. Yeah. Yeah.
You know, so to bring in these young players, you got to find veterans. We talked about that. Everybody talks about how young the Golden State Warriors are. But they're really not that young of a team.
Yeah.
Look at it.
Yeah.
When they won their first championship, who won the MVP in the championship finals, Charles?
Yeah.
That's what you're looking at. You look at iHeartRadio now. He was 33 years old.
Yeah.
He wins the finals MVP, yet you have the leading MVP on your team. You needed that veteran player, Charles, on the team. You had Bogart, who was on the team at center. You know, he was a veteran player. And you had several others, Charles, that came off the bench. So you have young players, but unless you can sprinkle in some veteran talent,
Yeah.
you're just not going to win a championship. And if you go back in the NBA, Charles, and you look at the last 7-8 years, overall, this is what the Lakers have.
Yeah.
These players have not panned out in the NBA.
No, not at all.
Just not. And that's why everybody is projecting this ball kid to be the number 2 pick in the NBA draft. The last one to pan out, Charles, would be Kevin Durant.
Yeah.
You know, when you think about it, he's the last number 2 pick to pan out in the draft.
Yeah.
You think about Greg Oden, who everybody said was a can't miss, who came out of
Where is he now out of Ohio State?
You know, he played, I think, a total of 3 years.
Yeah.
In the NBA. You look at Tyson Chandler, you know, even though he won a ring in Dallas, you know, he hasn't done anything. Another 7-footer, Charles.
Yeah.
This is something that we Martin, John Hammond, these players just haven't gotten it done as of late. I mean, we just saw the Lakers trade D'Angelo Russell.
Yeah.
They got rid of him. So, you know, the curse of the number 2 pick, and the biggest problem that ball has as far as transcending to
Yeah.
the NBA, everybody talks about his court racing,
Yeah.
how he can pass the ball, is where his release point is from with his shot, Charles. He brings this ball from the hip,
Yeah.
rise up to shoot it. He doesn't have a typical release from behind the head that you see most NBA players. And so when you're playing against some of these taller, more athletic guards in the NBA,
Yeah.
that's a shot that can be blocked frequently, Charles.
Yeah, and that's a good point you bring up too, Big C. And again, even no matter who goes first or who goes second, even in the top 10, and I'm happy for all the players who get the chance to change their lives. And it goes back to what Coach Cush talked about when he helped all of his players, or at least over 200 at Arizona State, go to the next level. And I know Lonzo Ball is just a freshman at UCLA. Obviously, if the Lakers want to take him, or if he's taken by Philadelphia or whomever, obviously they see something in him as far as growth. And you have folks out of Washington, you know, 2 great players that played in the Pac-12, but they didn't get into the Final Four this year. So I'm not going to say it's because of them. I'm just saying that UCLA had a top team, one of the top 10 teams in the country. Washington was a decent team for the most part in the Pac-12, but they had some injuries, and they kind of fit us, you know, on the downslope in the Pac-12 and cost their coach a job. But obviously, if you look at a kid like Markelle Fultz, a lot of people think he's going to be the first guy, a point guard out of Washington. If Philadelphia takes him, do you think he gets them into a position? It may be silly to say this, but can they be a playoff team with a kid that couldn't even get his own team in college to win the Pac-12 conference? Big C, your thoughts?
I look at Fultz as a player in college. He didn't win the Pac-12 conference.
Pac-19 right now. It's like Ohio State in the Big Ten, yeah.
With too many teams for his name.
Yeah,
okay?
yeah.
He didn't dominate that conference. I mean, you had a team that was sub 500.
Yeah.
And you're supposed to be the best player coming out of the draft. I'd like to have a player, if I'm picking up one overall, that came from a winning program.
Yeah.
I mean, he has that winning mindset. You know, he knows how to play through adversity. I mean, folk had adversity all the time, but it became him trying to make himself better. He didn't show anything how he made his team better in Washington.
Yeah.
That's what you look at in the NBA, Charles. Show me players that help make their team better. But that's the type of guy I want to draft. I don't want to draft a guy who's going to get and his team was sub 500.
Yeah.
And he was quite selfish. And that's what I see with folk. They can talk about the upside. But the upside, I mean, the downside right now outweighs the upside because he will make you somebody better. They were kids, okay?
Yeah.
They were like 7 years. All right? Now, how are you going to go make grown men better when you compete with guys right out of high school making them better?
Well, when you think about it, he was taken. They just announced he's the number 1 pick by the Philadelphia 76ers. Averaged 23 points in the Pac-12, which was a very good basketball conference. If you look at Oregon, what they did in March Madness, you look at what UCLA did. Of course, you have Arizona, and then even USC made some noise in the Pac-12 this year. Washington didn't get in, but obviously, I just look at what he's done for himself as an individual. I just want to let me get you to give some thoughts on the mindset. Again, we talked about Cush and how he helped over 200 players get a paycheck by going to the next level. What advice would you give to a young man like this? Because now he's going to be playing against grown men, Big C. It's no longer the Pac-12 where you're probably the best player on your team and one of the best in the conference, Big C. Your thoughts? Yeah. 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 Yeah.
That's what you need to do. Second, you need to hire a trainer.
Yeah.
All right? You need to get physically fit. You need to get stronger. Playing on that college level, we talk about playing 35, maximum 40 games a year.
Yeah.
Your body doesn't wear out as much as it does in the NBA. And if you have a road trip in the NBA,
yeah.
8 to 10 days.
Yeah.
That's a long time on the road, being in a hotel room. You have to learn how to manage yourself, to manage your body.
Yeah.
You can't be careful. You and I talked about it a couple of shows ago. Is that these young players, when they show up tonight, they got that new money, okay?
Yeah.
You can see them dressing on stage. They got that new money. They got the diamond watches. They got the new studs in the ears.
Yeah.
They got the shoes. And granted, you can afford those particular things. But that doesn't make the ball player.
No.
And I think a lot of these young players get off on the wrong track. Because they want to make it a fashion show. And is that fashion show about the future?
Yeah.
Or is this a chance to prep for the future? And a lot of them will lead the lifestyle that we see them going across the stage with the night chocolate and the NBA.
Yeah.
It's truly about what they need to do to be a professional. Being a professional athlete is not about how much jewelry you can buy and wear.
Yeah.
Okay? Not about putting on a skin-tight suit because you don't play basketball in one either.
Yeah, that's true.
Now, we talk about being an adult. It takes a grown man to play that game.
Yeah.
And, Charlton, we think about in the modern era of the number 1 draft pick overall.
Yeah.
Only 3 of them, Charlton, have led their teams to NBA titles.
Yeah.
Okay?
Yeah.
3 in the modern era, number 1 overall draft picks, have led their team to an NBA title. We can start with Eric Magic Johnson.
Yeah.
We can look at David Robinson in San Antonio. We can also look at Tim Duncan in San Antonio.
Yeah.
Prior to LeBron James, those are the only 3. But Charlton, those are the only 3 that did it in their rookie year.
Yeah.
Okay?
Yeah. That's true.
In their rookie year. So when we look at these players coming into the draft, when you look back over the last decade, no number 1 draft pick has had the impact, Charlton, to lead his team to even close to a potential NBA title.
Yeah.
So if right now, these days, it's just a turkey shoot.
Yeah.
A diamond in the rough.
That's a very good point, Big C.
Of the top 5 picks, Charlton,
Yeah.
in last year's draft, there's nobody who made an impact in the NBA.
And you think about what he just joined, Big C, for Philadelphia 76ers. all time the number one overall picks. They had in 1973 Doug Collins. They had Allen Iverson in 1996. In 2016, they had Ben Simmons last year, and then this year, folks. So obviously, I wish the kid the very best. He's obviously done a lot for himself, going to the University of Washington, which is more known as a football power. Started out by the great Donnie James back in the day, Big C, and now they become this basketball power too as well. But they just fired their coach, so they're obviously making a transition. And so next up, we have the second pick coming up in the draft. It looks like the Lakers are on the board, Big C, and everybody's talking about Ball and will it be him or his father that gets drafted? I think his father talks so much. And I do congratulate his father for being a great father as far as getting his kids into high school and college. That's a good thing. Obviously, it's going to be a chance for Alonzo Ball to have the chance to speak for himself as a grown man. I just want to get your thoughts. They're about 40 seconds away from coming up with the ball pick. Big C, your thoughts. Yeah. Yeah.
His dad, he had a 17-year NBA career. Okay?
Yeah. 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 That's a very good point, Big C. I know we haven't. Yeah. Yeah. And that's a good point too. And that's we have a little bit of time with your microphone. We're going to try to clear it up, Big C. Again, we're coming from downtown San Francisco, and I think the Lakers are coming up next with the pick. And everyone's expecting them to take Alonzo Ball, a freshman out of UCLA. Obviously a very talented high school player. They won a state championship in high school out in Southern California. And also now being a guy that UCLA credits for getting them back on the map. So obviously UCLA is going to miss him if he goes to the Lakers, and it looks like everyone's going to be, picking for that to happen. How do you think he makes an impact with the team? And we have Adam Silver coming out right now to announce the pick. But if it is Ball, obviously for him it's a dream come true, Big C. Something that he's wanted to do ever since he was a little boy. And his father obviously is saying that he's definitely going to go there. And they just picked Lonzo Ball to UCLA to go to the LA Lakers, so he'll get to stay home in Southern California. Big C, your thoughts? Yeah. Yeah.
And now he's told to become a delegate.
Yeah.
I mean, so to be a guard and lead the team to the state title and not be a large dominant ball club.
Yeah.
It's a little different. Like I said, I'm concerned about his shot release.
Yeah.
Bringing it from simple, and we think about the quick hand plays in the NBA. How many times, because if he's not below the shoulder thing,
yeah.
Especially below the waist, you don't get called.
Yeah.
By an NBA official. So I think he's going to have trouble with that part of the game transitioning to the NBA. You hope all these players the greatest of futures.
Oh, yeah. I tell you.
The number 2 overall draft pick in the NBA.
Yeah. And I think, again, we're still working on your microphone, Big C, but your thoughts on, Magic Johnson obviously being a big input with what the Lakers will do to build this team back into a championship team. Obviously, he likes some things about Ball to put their future really into the hands of a player that just was in college basketball, this season, Big C. March Madness just finished, 3 months ago, Big C. And now, obviously, I'm happy for Alonzo Ball. I hope that he'll be a great player in the NBA, but it doesn't mean he's going to come in and dominate right away. He's going to need some veteran players around him. Now, with him being there, there's so much talk about Paul George. Do you think this solidifies the chance for the Lakers to make a run at Paul George, or do you think they're still up in the air with that thought, Big C? Your thoughts? Yeah.
Paul George has to win 5 with your winning section.
Yeah, that's true.
Paul George wants to win.
Yeah. Yeah, and obviously we're still working on that microphone, Big C, but definitely it's going to be up to Paul George wanting to go. And if you're the Lakers, obviously, do you have the chance to stay with this kid? I want to go back to what happened with the players out of UCLA, and they've had so many great wins over the years, Big C. Alonzo Ball's one that played at UCLA, obviously, But you go back to some great players, two of the best in the history of the NBA. You look at Bill Walton in 1974 was a first-round draft pick out of UCLA. And before that, you got Lou Alcindor, even though he was picked up by Milwaukee in 1969. He did end up with the Lakers. And the Lakers having top players, and we did mention Magic Johnson, that's a lot of pressure because you're expected to win some championships there. Coming out of UCLA, a lot of good players, but I just want to see how his legacy, obviously, the great thing about playing for the Lakers is you have so many great players that have played there that you can look up to. Do you think that's going to add more pressure on Ball just being a freshman coming out of college? Big C, your thoughts? No. No.
There's going to be even more pressure with his dad on his back.
Yeah.
I think that will become the biggest detractor of his young career, Charles, is that the Lakers have to find a way to exercise his dad from being around.
Yeah.
It has to be put into the contract that he can't hang around.
Yeah.
He's publicity for himself. It's his son's time to shine.
Yeah.
His son's making his own money. He's got to walk away. And UCLA has had some great guards over the years, Charlton, that have played in the NBA. I mean, look at Walt Hampton, who played there. I look at Gail Goodrich, who won a couple championships with the Lakers, Charlton. He was in the backcourt.
Yeah.
Jerry West came out of UCLA. But think about the key back in Indiana. Reggie Miller.
Oh, yeah.
In his household behind his sister.
Yeah. Yeah.
So UCLA has turned them out. Ty Law.
Yeah.
They put some people out there on the court, Charlton, that can move up and down with the basketball. This is just the latest in ball, and hopefully, his career gets to the point where all the hype is there.
Yeah. That's true, Big C. So hopefully he'll have success with that. I do want to say that sports is a billion-dollar industry, and boys and girls sports is the foundation to this billion-dollar industry. When you play sports, you need insurance. We go through Ben and Mark. They've been around for half a century, Big C. You can find them all over the country. They're in all 50 states, and we get it for Big C Sports. Tweet out to them, or if you call them, or you check them out online, let them know that Charlton and Big C sent you for any kind of special promotions they may be offering. So obviously, Big C, back to the NBA draft, we've seen so many people that were expecting that we would get Ball and we would get Fultz. Now, think about this. The top two players that went in the NBA draft are out of the Pac-12. I don't believe the Pac-12 had a team represented in the Final Four. I may be wrong about that, but I know Oregon had a good season. UCLA had a good season. But we haven't had a national championship on the West Coast since I think Arizona did it back in 97, I believe. So it's been about 20 years, yet in 2017, they turned out the top two picks. What does that say about conference isn't always as good as each individual players? I know we think about ACC when we talk about college basketball or Big Ten basketball. Your thoughts on how the Pac-12 produced the top two picks, Big C, your thoughts? Yeah.
Because they come on so late. So it's about sending scouts out, having them there in the stadium, seeing the players one-on-one. I know there's been so much emphasis put on players doing these individual workouts.
Yeah.
Teams talking about, well, not teams, but the media, talking about players not wanting to work out for other teams. I think that, teams have sent out enough scouts, they've seen enough games and practices, and even talk to these players.
Yeah.
To know what to expect from these players. They don't need the individual workout, somebody going out there running through arms, taking some jump shots.
Yeah.
It reminds me of the college line, where you bring in all these big hulking bodies, okay?
Yeah. And all the guys that have been lifting big weights and working out, they look good on tape, Big Z, but sometimes when you put them to the game, you're saying it's not the same result. Is that what you're saying? Yeah. And so, Big C, I know you're out there on that boat down south and having some rough weather. Didn't they tell you take that boat inside, Big C? Who was that guy that was in Lieutenant Dan from Lieutenant Dan? I can't. Forrest Gump. Remember the boat? And the storm was coming, and Lieutenant Dan would not get off the boat, Big C. That's what you remind me of right now, Big C. But we got just a few more minutes just to cover up. And coming from downtown San Francisco, a lot of people are excited about the draft coming up. And I know we had so much to talk about coming up on this program. I think we'll know more as it settles down, and we'll look at who went where, because it's going to go on for a long time. But I do want to say we were very excited to see the first 2 players in the draft. I just want to run down a few more things that's happened in the world of sports. In the CFL, they are also looking at their kickoff tonight with CFL football, and we have the Saskatchewan Roughriders at the Montreal Alouettes. Big C, your thoughts on the CFL kicking off also, Big C? Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
You think about the great Johnny Rodgers, who won the Heisman Trophy in 1971.
Yeah.
Playing in Montreal also. After he went to the Super Bowl with the Steelers,
yeah.
down in Pasadena, ended up in Montreal. Also, David Overstreet, a #1 draft pick of the Miami Dolphins, and Fred Biletnikoff.
Yeah.
All-time great Rodgers.
That's very good knowledge. That's very good knowledge. And also around the NFL, before we close, Big C, we had Andy Reid obviously getting the contract extension. Andy Reid took the Philadelphia Eagles to the Super Bowl with the great Donovan McNabb. Now he's getting Kansas City at least into the playoffs. Hasn't had the same kind of success with Kansas City that he had playing and coaching the Philadelphia Eagles, but congratulations to him. And also in the NHL last night in Las Vegas, Big C, your thoughts real quick on them taking some of the players and helping build up the team for the Las Vegas Knights. Big C, your thoughts? Yeah. Yeah, definitely one of their top players too. Yeah.
You get a cornerstone for your franchise.
Yeah. Yeah, and also in the College World Series tonight, we have Louisville and TCU. They're in an elimination game. Both teams that had success on the season might be a chance for someone to decide who's going to get beaten up by Oregon State, Big C, in the College World Series. Your thoughts? Yeah.
That's what's so great about the College World Series. One and done, like you get in the bowl season.
Yeah.
One game and it's over in the college football bowl season. Even in the NCAA tournament in basketball. In the College World Series. But all teams, I remember a team out from your region, Fresno State.
Oh, yeah, the Bulldogs.
The College World Series, Charles, about 2 decades. They lost in the first round, but after that, the tournament. So anything can happen in college baseball.
Yeah, and that's obviously what we're looking forward to, seeing some more great baseball going on. So Big C over here in downtown San Francisco had to get away from the heat from the Central Valley, and a lot of people were excited to see the top 2 picks. And you had Tatum, who went 3rd also. We'll have more of that wrap up tomorrow as we come to you on Big C Sports on iHeartRadio. So we talked about, again, our thoughts and our prayers go out to the family of the late Coach Cush, who coached Arizona State and also the coach in the NFL. And we talked about the CFL kicking off tonight up in Canada across the border with Saskatchewan at Montreal. The College World Series is in full swing, so congratulations to whoever gets the chance to get knocked off by Oregon State. The NHL and the Las Vegas Knights, congratulations getting your team built up for you. Big C, I want to get your final thoughts on what you're looking forward to going into Friday. Big C, your thoughts. Yeah, yeah. 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 Oh, yeah.
And, he's risen to star status in the NBA.
Well, Big C, that's a very good point. We're going to look at that. We'll have more to wrap up the NBA draft tomorrow as we kick off Big C Sports from Northern California. And I just want to say to everyone out there, we thank you so much for following Big C Sports every Monday through Friday at 5 and 6 p.m. on the iHeartRadio network, the number one network in the United States of America. And Big C Sports has been voted the number one sports show in the universe, according to Big C and them good old boys down south. As we always tell you from downtown San Francisco, there's never any excuse to put your hands on a woman. If you know any woman going through that garbage, just call 911 so she won't have to deal with it on her own. And as we always tell you, on every Big C Sports program, we thank you, we appreciate you, and we hope that you have a super fantastic day.